Alright, so you get yourself a blade, or several, be it knives, swords, whatever, and now you're wondering how to maintain them. Hopefully you're safe and smart enough to not hurt yourself, but if you do and get blood on them, it might be good to know how to clean it off and prevent any rust on the blade. There's some older videos on my channel about sharpening sword blades and how to repair edge damage. I'll link them down below. I tend to look at repair and maintenance separately, even though you can just as well file everything under the umbrella term maintenance. But this is just going to be about cleaning, rust prevention, things like that. So first off, what to use. Generally, I'm skeptical toward kits like this because I've seen a tendency on the market to basically just repackage a bunch of things that are available at a lower price and then selling that kit more expensively and also adding a bunch of extra things that you really don't need. In this case, this is actually quite good. It comes with this wax here, it comes with the matte finish cleaner, Flitz polish, and the microfiber cloth. Again, if you already have one, you don't really need that. This kit I just threw into a Kult of Athena order one day because I figured I need some more Flitz anyway, and figured I might as well try it out. And yeah, it is pretty pricey considering the small amounts that you're getting, but this works really quite well. For rust prevention, it's really pretty simple. You just want to essentially separate the steel from the oxygen in the air. That's what causes rust, oxidation. So you can technically use all kinds of things, just that some are not as advisable as others. For example, you can absolutely use olive oil, for example, but for long-term storage, if you keep oil on there for a long time, then it might go rancid. You could technically slather margarine on there or butter or whatever, but again, that's going to go rancid and it's not going to be a very pleasant experience long term. Generally, mineral oil works really well. You can get that everywhere. You know, baby oil, for example, only made of the finest of babies, obviously, and a number of other oils as well. Camellia oil is one that I've used for a while. A lot of things really work, but my general recommendation would be mineral oil. For long-term storage and protection, Renaissance wax is great. This stuff comes in a large 200 milliliter tin and also a 65 milliliter. This one I've been using for years and there's still plenty left. So I think most people will get by just fine with this. Again, smell is pretty strong on this. I actually kind of like it. Maybe I've just grown accustomed to it, but it is a bit of a sharp, kind of petroleum-like smell, perhaps. Again, not in a bad way for me, but if that bothers you, then you might want to pick something else. Speaking of smell, Ballistol is great, technically, for its versatility. It can be used for all kinds of things, you know, firearm cleaning and maintenance. You can use it on various metals, you can use it on wood, leather, it's skin safe, all kinds of things. But the smell is pretty pungent, and also you're not supposed to breathe it in. There's a warning on it. Use only in well-ventilated area. Do not breathe vapor. For that reason, I don't particularly like it. If you're outdoors using it, it's fine, but yeah, be aware that your stuff is going to smell pretty strong, and this is not the good kind of smell. Again, that's very subjective. To maintain your wood and keep it nice and moist, you can also use mineral oil. In fact, food-grade mineral oil can even be used for wooden cutting boards in the kitchen. So the nice thing about that is if you use mineral oil, you can just pretty much slather it all over the place. It works on wood, it works on various metals, leather probably as well. So that's always a nice option. And again, it's also not expensive. You can also use Renaissance wax, that works just fine. For wood, again, Ballistol works, but smelly. Linseed oil is great for wood. I like to use raw, untreated linseed oil. It takes quite a while to penetrate into the wood. You basically have to let it stand for several weeks, but it works beautifully. It's non-toxic, and it really seals the surface, makes it resistant to water, and that's really what you want. You want something that penetrates into the wood to re-moisturize it, to prevent any kind of cracking. And with leather, it's the same deal. You want to make sure it doesn't dry out and start cracking, so you can use something like this right here, leather conditioner. What I particularly like to use for this is saddle soap. So this stuff you just rub onto the leather sparingly, don't go crazy, and that generally applies. You don't want to really go crazy. I used the word slather earlier, but that was just jokingly. You really don't want to be excessive with either oils or waxes or anything like that. A little goes a long way, and you don't want to make it all, you know, dripping, oily, wet, and then put it in a scabbard. So yeah, let's take a look at cleaning. Generally, you want to work your way up gently, you know, go easy with any kinds of abrasives. You really want to do the minimum required to get it clean, and then be able to re-oil or wax it. This blade right here is, you know, just a little bit discolored, you know, slightly dirty here and there, just a little bit. So for light duty cleaning, this stuff is great. I've found you just spray it on both sides, and you take, you know, a scouring pad, something that's just a slight abrasive, and you can immediately see, at least I hope, probably depends on the lighting, but it immediately gets rid of any kinds of stains. Of course, be careful with the edge, you know, don't just vigorously rub on this side. You know, if you do it like this, leave a bit of space. I don't know how well you can see that, but basically keep the sponge away from the edge. That way you don't shred it either. And in this case, that's really all, because this wasn't even really dirty. It was just a little bit of discoloration from being in this scabbard for a while. And now I'm just buffing it with a bit of this wax. Again, you can use Renaissance wax, or you can use mineral oil. There's really plenty of options. So buffing means you just use very light pressure. You don't want to just, you know, push down hard on it and grind it. You just want to very gently rub it in. So particularly if you live in a high humidity place, then you definitely want to do that. There. And nice and shiny. Okay, what if you're dealing with something a little more neglected? There is quite a bit of rust on this practice sword. And so just cleaning it isn't going to be enough. So this is where Flitz comes in. So this is a polishing compound, and I would generally recommend starting with this because it's the least abrasive. So you can just use any kind of cloth really, and put a bit on, and then okay, hopefully, I don't know how well the camera is going to pick that up, but we can try. I'm not going to make you watch me polish my sword, so we'll skip that. And again, afterwards, regular cleaning, of course, to get all that gunk off. So you can see here, that's the result. So compared to the other side, I mean, okay, this was worse to begin with. Maybe I should have done this side to show it better. And this is a good example anyway, because if this isn't enough, then you can crank it up a notch and use steel wool. Extra fine or very fine, depending on what you need. And if that still doesn't do it, then you can start with very fine sandpaper and gradually work your way up and see what's enough, because again, you don't want to do any more than necessary. So you get the idea, gently and methodically. If you're dealing with bronze, basically you don't have to worry about it. It depends on whether you want the darker color. I used to have the sword standing upright in a display case, stuck in a piece of styrofoam, and you can see the difference here. This is the part that was isolated. It wasn't in contact with air, and this was. So depends on what you want. I really like the darker, kind of more reddish tone. So personally, I don't do anything with that. I just leave bronze as it is to age naturally and just watch it get prettier. But if you don't want that, then again, you can use all of these methods. All right, hope you found it helpful. Thanks for watching and have a good one, folks.